Welcome to the Reinventing You 7-Day Challenge. I am so excited. I'm your host, Alyssa Sulli, and today I am pumped for our guest speaker, Pheniece Semien. This woman is a trailblazing, optimistic, business-savvy wife, bonus mom, and entrepreneur with over a decade of experience as a professional speaker, trainer, and teacher. Pheniece is a mentor that practices what she preaches, focusing on the importance of continuing to develop your craft and skills in life, building a strong mindset, and getting the results you want through consistent and focused action. Her leadership community, LIT, Lead, Inspire, Transform, is a home to individuals aiming to find strength when exhausted, clarity when they are uncertain, and is a starting point for those aspiring for more. Talk about a woman on a mission to make an impact in the lives of others. Thank you so much, Pheniece. I'm so excited to have you today to hear all about you and your life and reinventing yourself and any strategies and tools and guidance that you can provide to the audience to make an impact in their lives. Thank you for being here.
Thank you. Hello, Alyssa. Thank you so much. I'm excited to be here. Thank you for this time to talk with you about that. Thank you.
Yeah, well, let's go ahead and dive in. So this platform is meant to be a space of sharing, reinventing your stories, something that you've done in your life to reinvent yourself, the challenge that you went through, what you overcame, and the tools and strategies that you use to get to the other side of those challenges and really reinvent a part of your life. Can you share with us a story today about something you've reinvented yourself around?
Absolutely. I am pretty much a career girl, just like the rest of us, is probably on our journeys and what we really love to do. And so in the midst of that, of having a career and starting a business, I got married. I'm married to a wonderful man, and he has 2 children, so I don't have any of my own. And so my bonus son's mother asked for a residential change. And so overnight, I had to reinvent myself to a full-time stepmother. So that was a bit of a challenge.
Kid in the house. Okay.
Yes, very much so.
Yeah.
So had to take the whole trip from here to Texas. That's where we're both from, my husband and I. And so we went there, picked him up, and then the journey is amazing from then. But yes, to reinvent myself overnight, that was my journey.
Wow. So what was your first thought when you all of a sudden were going to have this new responsibility, new part of yourself that you hadn't quite connected to? What was that like in your mind? What were you thinking about?
Well, personally, I was already at a stage of I wanted children. They just hadn't come yet because I was, starting a new job at the time. So I was okay with the motherhood of it. It was just trying to man the unexpected things, such as when we did get my bonus son, there was talks of ADHD issues and grade issues. And it was just like, oh, okay, it wasn't just, hey, he's just going to come in and transition pretty easily. We had to really go and make sure that he was okay in his learning and just with his development. So
wow.
Yes, it was a journey, which I know that you can attest to at times. Sometimes it's just a journey that you have to kind of.
You got to take it by the reins and go.
Yes.
Yeah. And so it seems like, I know you have a big background in serving and connecting with people and teaching. And I can only imagine as you are taking, on this responsibility of not only bringing a child to the home, but not having the background of being a mother yourself, but you were a teacher and trying to support this individual who's now shifting homes. They're a child. They already have their schooling is a little bit behind, or you weren't sure about that process. Mm-hmm. How are you wrapping your head around this and preparing to make a difference and an impact in this child's life?
Well, for one, I am Pinterest queen. So
Pinterest.
A lot of research on Pinterest. Shout out to Pinterest. All that help. Oh, and I did take 2 classes of child development. So those two classes in high school really prepared me.
Wow. Okay. So you took child development in high school. That's pretty cool.
But it was definitely a support system that I needed. And I know that you can attest to that as well. Sometimes you just need somebody outside of you to
Yeah.
just kind of push you forward and be like, it's okay, keep going, research, talk to other people. That I have known that to be a really good, strong foundation for me, is just talking to other people that
Yeah.
may have had similar to mine, maybe not as much as mine, but just along those lines of having to transition overnight,
Yeah.
and or finding out something is wrong with their child, and they were able to help me, through that journey of trying to understand all the ramifications of what he was going through.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow. So how did you begin to implement, connecting with him and helping him through the process of this transition that he was going through, as well as yourself and your husband?
I would definitely say it was communication, but it wasn't just, oh, talk to me whenever you need me. It
Yeah.
was creating a safe place of communication. Like, if there's anything you don't like, tell me. If something scares you, tell me. Like, let's just have those conversations. And there've been many times where he would be playing on the game and I'm like, hey, after your game is done, let's talk. And so I would just open up a conversation and just to see how he felt about it, not so much as, trying to pull out of him something, but just trying to see how he felt and where he was. So safe communication was key for us to just have him comfortable to where we could find out where he was, even though he was given a diagnosis, but actually, where are you? How do you feel? What's going on in class?
Yeah.
So that really did help a lot.
Yeah. And was he pretty open about it, or was it kind of like pulling teeth?
At first it was, because of course, here is a child I barely know.
Right.
And so he barely knows me.
Right.
And but at first it was more or less he was just listening, just
Mhm.
trying to understand what I was saying. And but giving him that voice and power to say, if I'm saying something and you don't understand it, ask me. If I'm saying something and you don't like it, say, I don't like what you said.
Mm.
And you will not get bashed or talked about or anything. We'll talk about why you don't like it. So over that, he began to trust me because I gave him power to be him.
Mm. Wow, that's a really beautiful message, not only as a parent, but just in life with any relationship that we have, in bringing communication to the platform, but that communication is safe. That if
Yes,
I'm mad or I'm frustrated, that we can share and collaborate and come to a common ground, or just maybe not even common ground, but an understanding for more perspective,
absolutely.
can really enhance any relationship. But I can only imagine the impact that had on you and your stepson's relationship. So how did things progress from there?
So from there, that was within the first year. We were just trying to figure out, what we were dealing with and how far along the spectrum he was and different things like that.
Sure.
Um, and by the end of the year of working with him, setting those realistic expectations of, yes, you have a diagnosis, but you're still functional. You're an awesome human being and you will act accordingly. Then he actually felt good about that, even though I felt at times or second guessed myself at times, like, oh my goodness, was I too hard when I said this? Or I don't know if I should have said that right. Or
Yeah.
but to still let him know, like, even though you have a diagnosis, you do matter
Yeah.
and there's expectations of greatness in you.
Mm.
And so from that, he was able to like school. He came to us like at the end of the school year last year and said, I actually like school. I was like, oh, you do.
That's
And
amazing.
he's getting his grades are getting a lot better. And then coming into the second year, because he had already had the expectation and just that support,
Mm.
he was able to excel even more this year. So it's truly progressed in the right direction for him and for us. We're able to talk with him, on other things, more personal things than just school and grades and how he feels. So it was definitely a progression change.
You know, I became emotional when you talked about, you know, he's feeling good about things, and he, you know, it took a year. It wasn't an overnight thing. You began to communicate and build that bond and relationship and that trust within that first year, and things began to really progress forward,
Mhm.
and he felt safe. But the piece where you mentioned, you know, your worth isn't contingent on what you're being labeled,
Yes.
that you can still show up in life, but that you are still an amazing, beautiful person, even
Hmm.
if you're diagnosed with ADHD. And we hold on to labels. I know that I have, and some labels I still continue to hold on, especially from my childhood. You know, I was never considered the book smart kid. And so I always questioned my ability to learn and to teach, though because of my background, people say you simplify information because of how my brain works. So I am a good teacher. I am great at learning. I just have a different way of doing it,
Hmm.
and maybe what society labels as how it should be done. And I think that your experience and what you're sharing today is so valuable. Like, you even just to like hone in on what you've shared, in that, you know, life is going to throw stuff at you, and are you prepared? And
Hmm.
even when you're not prepared, you can get help. Like the fact that you even mentioned that, seek out help. You don't have to do this alone. Like, especially if you don't know how to reinvent
Hmm.
yourself, you don't know what to do. Find people who do know what to do. Find people that
Hmm.
have been in your shoes and have the outcome that you want. And they'll have some tools that you can try. And maybe they won't all
Absolutely.
work, but you can pivot and learn. I
Hmm.
think that was beautiful. You're honing in on the importance of communication and building that bond and relationship with someone, and that connection and a safe space. But at the same time, it's not like in the communication process, it's a coddling process, but it's more, okay, this is where we're at. We may be coming here and we may have lulls here, but we still want to reach here. And I think that's
Hmm.
a great standard and message to live by in any realm of life, but especially, you know, as a parent, of nurturing that child and supporting them, but letting them know that they really have great potential, and to don't settle for where you're currently at. I think that's amazing.
I do. Actually, when you spoke about being, going to get that help, just a quick little story. He was having some trouble with class, like at the beginning of the year when school first started, because COVID was still going on, and we were trying to figure out were we going back to school or were we not, what was going on. But in that, they were still getting, of course, school was in session, so they had to do their work, and stuff just kept coming back where it just was not done correctly. And so I gave him a tidbit. I was like, look, I said, whenever you submit something, just be proactive. Ask them, is this correct? Just that one little question, did I do it correctly?
Mm.
And now I got a phone call last week, I'm sorry, where his teacher was like, we just wanted to say thank you. Like, he is proactively asking us for corrections, and I
Oh,
was like, oh, so it's working. It's working. Just to say, hey, go that step beyond to be like, did I do it correctly? And so I have not gotten anything from his teachers to say, hey, he's kind of slipping over here. Can you kind of put him back on track? Nothing like that this whole first 6 weeks of school. So
oh,
definitely reach out to be that resource.
yeah,
Hmm.
yeah. Ask for help and get clarity. And if you're not sure, that's amazing. Yeah, I love it. So, where are you guys now in all of this, in this experience of, you know, the transition and the connection and the bond that you guys have developed?
So we're at a point to where he is now addressing some personal hurtful things that was done to him childhood wise, like what you kind of said, where you kind of hold on to labels from your childhood. He's now starting to address those things on
Mm.
his own. It was just like, there have been a lot of talks where I'd be like, why do you do certain things, or why are you feeling this way? And he would just say, oh, because I was told. Somebody told me that I was stupid, or somebody told me And it was just it. I wouldn't push past that because I didn't want to push too far. And so this year, he's coming forward and saying, well, I feel this way because, or can I talk to you? And I'm like, absolutely, let's sit down. I stop everything. Like, okay, I could be cooking. Let's stop, let's talk. What's going on? So he is opening up more emotionally. School wise, he's, considering, a career. He's talked to some of his counselors about some of his passions and goals. And so this year it's a turning point. I think that we're like, okay, now that we got the diagnosis out of the way, now we're on a turning point to where we're going versus just trying to hurry up and deal with reality. Now we're looking for future. So that's where we are.
Oh, that's amazing. And there's something else special that you guys have in your relationship at this point. What is that?
I would say we play more. We actually play more. Like, cause the big thing right now is like TikTok challenges, that whole thing. And I'm just like, God, some of these challenges. But sometimes he'll be like, "Oh, Mom, look at this one," or "Hey, I saw this one," or "What do you think?" So we're coming into this play thing where he can joke on me and I joke on him, or he'll say something crazy about me and I just get to laughing, or he'll mimic me. That's his thing. He'll mimic me, and I'm like, "You better stop it."
Well, and you said something really key right there when you were talking about the playfulness and that he addresses you a certain way. How does he address you now?
He addressed me as mom or mama. Mama, can I talk to you? Absolutely, babe. What's going on?
And what was that like for you when he began to call you mom?
To be honest, I was shocked. I was like taken back. Like, what? Because I never put that out there, like, hey, you need to call me this or you need to call me that. I just told him my name, and I said, you call however that you feel. You want me to call Miss Neicey, Pheniece, however you want to call me, just or whatever you want to call me, that's fine. So I kind of left that open for him. And so at the end of last year, coming into this year, I started to hear the change in his tone when he addressed me and what he was starting to say. And I was just like, what? But I didn't want to let him see that. So I didn't want to be like, oh, what'd you say? I just rolled with it. I was just like, yes, honey. What do you need? I just rolled with it. And so we went out last week to Dave and Buster's just to kind of get the kids out a little bit, him and his cousins. And so his aunt was there. And he just normally, because he calls me mom now, he just, hey, Mom, can you? And she looked at me and I was like, yeah. And she was like, he calls you mom? And I was like, yeah, it's been a couple months now. And she said, what? I said, yeah, he calls me mom now. So that's where we are in communication. The roles and the tone have changed. I'm no longer just someone that's there to help him with his work. I'm now mom to him.
I'm like crying. Like, this is just so beautiful. And I know this is in relation to your stories in relation to becoming a mother, but this story is so valuable in recognizing all relationships, because what you have modeled and shown and lived by has created an outcome in a relationship that we all crave and desire. Not only him, but you. And, it speaks to your ability to teach and to lead, and that, at like your community, your lead, inspire, transform. And again, I want to summarize what you've shown us. Not only have you shown us about pivoting and focusing and recognizing so life will throw stuff at you, and to never be afraid to ask for help, but you've taught us about communication. You've taught us about, in any relationship, whether it's a new partner or an existing partner, or it's a child, or it's your mother or your siblings or your friends, is to be a safe place where you can connect. You spoke about being present, that when your son comes to you, you stop and you say, yeah, how can I help? What do you need? What do you have to share? And so often we're so disconnected when we're talking. We're like, oh, I'm still cooking. I'm still like, what do you want? And no, you're like, yeah, let's connect. Let me be a safe place for you to share. How are you feeling? You know, again, it's not an overnight thing. It's not something that developed and just happened. It flowed through a year and progressing on to, you know, what is it, another year now? 2 years are you in?
Yeah, this is going on 2.
2 years, yeah. And, you know, creating an expectation in any relationship of just an understanding, and not to say that it'll go seamlessly, but just to want a powerful connection, to want a better understanding, and how you two can relate by your own individual struggles and perceptions of life, and that these labels that we can find ourselves, you know, fueling our life experiences, they're a place of growth. And to be in a relationship with someone, in a partnership with someone, to have a connection with someone where you can grow and evolve, that is life. Like, that's why you have community. That is why you have people.
Definitely.
That is it's like, it's just like, it's probably like one of my favorite like messages. And I think just because you just speak to what we need to be doing to really connect to those we care about and to people in our lives at a higher level. And I can't thank you enough for that message. Can you speak a little bit more about, you know, your background and what you teach in your lit community? Do you have any insight or tools and strategies of life that you share there that you can share with us here?
Yes. A lot of times in my, I guess, line of work, it's not just coaching. It's not just trying to get someone over the hump, but a lot of times it's just, well, I mainly say, number one, be honest with yourself about yourself. And me coming into motherhood overnight, not having any children or anything like that, I had to be honest with myself about myself. Like, okay, you've never done this before. Don't just think, oh, you know, it'll kick in and I got this. And no, like, go out and get some help, because you just got to be honest. This is a place that you've never been. Reinventing yourself can be scary at times. And so if you just kind of overlook that, or you just try to be like, oh no, I got it anyway, without taking that honesty and being like, yes, I am scared. Yes, I'm very unsure. I don't understand what is going on or what I'm supposed to be doing. So that honesty with yourself about yourself is number one key for anything, especially in any journey that you're just now starting. And not so much of, you don't know because of who you are or where you are or past experiences, but it's just something new. It's just it's just something new. And there's information out there and people out there that will walk you through it. Not to be in a place that you feel that you're vulnerable, or you don't know what you're doing. Sometimes we don't know what we're doing when we're reinventing ourselves, or we're having something thrown at us that reinvents our lives. But that honesty of, you know what, I don't know, but I'm gonna go find out.
Yeah.
That's number one in my course, is that honesty.
Oh, I absolutely love that. I like, holy cow, be honest with yourself about yourself. If I don't know, that's okay. I'll go find out.
Mhm.
Wow,
I'll
what
go find out.
a way to wrap this up. Can you please share with our audience where they can find you and get more information about your services?
Absolutely. So my website is www.welivelit.com, and I am across 3 different platforms. I'm on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at Live to Be Lit. That's live number 2, be lit. And you can connect with me on there, and I will definitely connect with you.
Oh, that's wonderful. Thank you so much, Neicey. I
Thank
really
you.
appreciate it. And you had such a valuable message today. I hope the audience knows how much, you know, just opportunity we have as life throws us curveballs to reinvent ourselves. And you provided some great tools and guidance there. So thank you so much.
Thank you for having me. Thank you.
You have a great day.
You too. Thank you.